We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground. Come on, party people, 'cause the night is young. There ain't no time to lose, yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Call your friends and tell them this is where it's at. We're moving to the groove, playing records back to back. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna spin this all the way around. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground. We're gonna groove to the sound, jump all around. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground. Now the champagne's flowing and we're letting loose. There's laughter all around, ain't nobody got the blues. Everyone is dancing and the lights are low. Go on and make you move, shake that body across the floor. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna spin this all the way around. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground. Feel the rhythm of the sun way down. Show the people what it's all about. Yeah, we're gonna turn it upside down. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground. We're gonna groove to the sound, jump all around. We're gonna turn this upside down. We're gonna rock this inside out. We're gonna shake this to the ground.
Yo, yo, happy Monday. I'm still getting set up over here, but you guys are having way too much fun in the chat for me to just sit idle. So I'm going to finish setting up and maybe participate a little bit. Nano, today. Let me turn that down a little bit for you. Your homie's back from Armenia. What's up, Polly? Eric, welcome back. How are you, man? Saffron. Man, I hope the family BS is just some passing gray clouds and nothing too serious, dude. Oh, these lasers. The contemporary elevator porn funk. Best new genre. That's great. Oh, man. Dude. Saf, I'm just reading your update here. Back into the Funktronica jokes. Man, I hope she's okay. Everybody send good vibes. That is no joke. Oh, hell no. There is no killing the vibe here, man. The Yummy Nation is strong. And real talk is always a lot more important than any noise that we're making. You gotta talk through stuff, talk through stuff. So, how's the snow? We got a bunch of ice, and then some snow, and a bunch more ice, and then more snow, and then a whole lot more ice, and then it started to melt, and then it refroze, and we got more ice. Long story short, there's a backyard full of tree parts and shattered ice everywhere. We're waiting for everything to clear to see exactly how we fared. No damage to any fences or roofs this time around, thank goodness. Last few years, we have not been quite as lucky. So I hope all of you are doing all right out there. Nanowires. Benny, how's your body after the car wreck, dude? And is the car completely gonzoed? And is the Advil for only the hangover, or... Questions. What kind of shroomies? Man, yeah, you've had it. Ooh, a coating of ice. What's up, Purple Pros? Yeah, the winter is straight up wreaking some havoc. So, there's all this heavy stuff that's been happening. And, you know, it's been one heck of a year. And I've been grinding on a lot of, like, really kind of darker sounds for these libraries that I've been building. But when I tuned into Twitch this morning while drinking my morning coffee before firing this up, I popped in on Damien's stream, and it is Swamp of Life's birthday today. And he's also recently relocated. So, you know, that's never an easy time to do that. So he'll probably end up showing up here at some point, I'd imagine. And when he does, let's wish him a warm welcome, happy birthday. And we were shooting messages back and forth at each other. Just trying to catch up a little bit because he's been offline for a minute. Well, he's been moving. And when his first message came through, like all of a sudden the sun broke out, like through these clouds that have been up here for a week. And right now it is just like crystal clear and bright sunshine. And it's right at that perfect point where the sun is hitting all the ice in just the right way. So everything's turning to steam really super fast. So like we've got this kind of vapor filter on everything and the sun rays are peeking through, and if you stick your head out there, it's just the sound of constant rainfall because everything is melting. I don't know. I've always really liked this moment after being shrouded in ice. I don't know about you guys. What's your favorite part of the winter storm? Oh, Benny, man. Oh, Saf, man. I so wish there was more all of us could do from afar when stuff like this happens. We need to send Saf some hot chocolate. Take that hot chocolate straight? Or are you the type of guy that likes to toss in a little schnapps or something? Alright, so I'm going to shut down this music. Well, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. I think I'd rather just make some sounds right out the gate. Oh man, Eric, yeah. There's something that I can't wait to get back to. It's just a little bit of social when the winter storm is hitting. Absolutely. Just a little bit of social in general. Ooh, Purple Prose. Yeah, I really like just stepping out into it for the first time, right? And like hearing that initial crunch of like the foot going through, finding the bottom of the snow. Just kind of like reminding yourself like what all that stuff sounds like as all the memories are flooding back. Yeah, that whole little moment each time is one that I really like. The other one that's a eternal favorite is walking through the trees, like walking through the woods after or during, just like where you can hear the stuff falling off the branches and like finding earth. Hot chocolate or cocoa? Oh man, they're intermingled here constantly. It's like one or the other. Marshmallow. Oh man, that's awesome. Oh, Mr. McChickino. Welcome to the mix. Yeah, we will be doing some feedback. We're just getting fired up here. Got some lo-fi jams you want some opinions on? Feel free to just drop a link in the chat and sit tight for just a sec. Boom, 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 boom. Mo Parks, welcome. And thank you so much for the follow. Just get setting up here. These guys were having too much fun in the chat while I was getting set up, so I said, screw this. I'm getting out there. So now you guys have to watch me set up. That's how that goes. All right. I think we're there. Thank you for the follow, sir. Appreciate it. Someone was telling me that there was some kind of vote being had on some channel. Excuse me. That historically has been really great for feedback. And people go and they look at all of the like really awesome technical analysis of the sounds inside of the track and the overall track, and it's like its pitchability and all this kind of stuff. I forget what the channel's called. I'll have to go back and look at the message, but someone started spouting off in there about how the Ohmies give the best feedback on Twitch because it includes some like heartfelt creative feedback, and it's not just all like expressing ego or like technical knowledge or something like that. Anyway, from what I understand, it caused a little stir. I need to go see if I can find the moment somewhere. Yeah, I thought I'd open up Serum and see what I could make. I'm thank you, Benny. I think I'm just going to make some like, I don't know, maybe not stratospheric stuff. No, I'm gonna make kind of like a mixed media approach to some of the atmospheres in the upcoming big library. So today what we're going to do is build out some really quick airy stuff that we can modulate in like 15, 20 different ways, right? To start building out variety in the atmospheres directory in here, or category. And then I want to build in some nice, like high-tech, super futuristic, minimalist kind of digital electronic type stuff that can be layered in. And then we're going to meld all of that back into some more hybrid soundscapes, some more like lush nature hybrid soundscapes for this library. All right. Ben is in rare form this morning. Can we get some F's in the chat for Costco dropping the Supreme Pizza? So wait, are you telling me that they kept pizza, but they dropped the Supreme Pizza? So now your options are pepperoni or cheese? Is that kind of where we are in the Costco world? I don't really do Costco here, so. The modulate LFO's point. Yeah. Yeah, Foss, it's great. We can take a look at that too. It's fantastic, the XY grid. Yeah, so that's a pretty stupid decision. You keep pepperoni and you keep cheese. You'd think that if they were going to kill the Supreme that they would like maybe kill the meat on it and keep the veggies. No, I'm just kidding. Costco would probably never sell a vegetarian thing. Maybe they're just waiting to unveil their newest treat, which is the Supreme Pizza Hot Pocket, Costco style. Oh man. See, people are gonna get upset now. I don't Costco either. I just don't use enough stuff to Costco. I can't justify walking out with some big old thing. Someone gave me a Costco membership while we were down at the Bay, and I walked around that place for so long, and I left with a big container of salad greens and like a big old thing of tequila or something like that. Um, I just didn't know. It's always just so overwhelming. Like I look at that much toilet paper, or like that many spring rolls, or like this many croissants, and I'm like, how can I possibly do this? Oh man, Guy, I hope you're gonna pay for that, dude. Freaking rude much, man. The booze is the best. Well, I was kind of blown away because, we had just gotten down there, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Normal people in normal places outside of Oregon just like go to the store to buy booze. They don't have to go to a special store to buy booze, right?" Um, so I'm like, "All right, so yeah, we'll just get like a big thing of something." And I'm like, "Ah, scotch or maybe tequila." Or Guy. Well, I guess if you didn't see the screen door, then it couldn't possibly be your fault. So, happy Monday to you, dude. Hope you're all right. Hope you're doing well over there. The meat's really high quality. That's what she said. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's click on this link. Let's start off the day with a little bit of feedback, and then we're just going to play Mad Scientist for a while. Canada doesn't sell booze in regular stores. Do they have like a liquor commission like we do here? I really honestly don't even remember in my adventures up in BC and whatnot. I really don't. Hello, autoplay. Hang tight just a sec. I'm still getting set up. SoundCloud, bear with me. Oh man, I need to think out. I need to think of some more name ideas for this duo. All right, here we go.
I would trade it for your love, your joy forever. Trade it for your love, darling, forever. I would trade it for your love, your joy forever. Trade it for your love, darling, forever. Forever in the world.
Um, Man, this is great. This is awesome. Um, as per our usual, I don't know if you've dropped stuff in here. I don't recognize the name. I'm just going to check the chat really quick so I'm not too redundant. People in here tend to show some good points. The Wonder Years. Oh man, it triggered something inside of you, man. You must have heard something like Portishead or something for the first time um, on the same day you were watching Wonder Years or something. It's funny how that stuff works, huh? Paulie, you send that through to the email? Yeah, okay. So, arrangement wise, like concept wise, don't change a freaking thing and don't listen to too much feedback on this one because you've got a really, really nice vibe, and like adding things to it would probably be the wrong choice at this point. I think at this point it's more just about like enhancing and knowing exactly where to cut away to create just a bit more separation and definition in a couple of places, really make things shine. I love the fade in, the rate of the fade in, like exactly where it starts. It all feels really, really nice. It feels like a song that's been put together very organically, and that you're listening more than you are looking, and that's really refreshing, to be perfectly honest. The vocals fit the vibe so well. The just the timbre of her voice and the processing that you've got on it is really good. I would suggest some kind of slow ride, mid-low pump on this thing. Maybe just like a really, really subtle LFO mod, just like a simple sine, either just on a basic EQ peak, on like the mid elements of your mix, or maybe a subtle saturation sweep across the entire, like the entirety of the bottom half of the frequency spectrum on the entire mix or something. Very, very slow and subtle. Um, and and play around with the idea of you've got some really awesome vocal processing in all of this, and I think that if you were to allow one element, one of the higher frequency elements in your mix, I'm not sure that I would necessarily pick one for you, um, but sending just a sliver of it out to the sides and letting that swirl around a little bit quicker than those low end swells, and I think you'd really get that dreamy effect kind of built up into a dimensional thing a bit more. It does seem thick around 300 or so in the general mix though. I would take a look at that. It doesn't seem overly busy or competitive right smack dab in the middle. It feels like you really nailed the middle of your mix, to be perfectly honest. Um, but it does seem a little thick just under that, right? So just south of 500. Um, those crackles, oh man, I love fire in music, but these crackles in here, these big pops right in here, consider, and I'll even show you a little example of what I mean. Um, Let me find a really good example for you here. Maybe something like this. So you can achieve this kind of a sound by taking maybe even that same exact fire sample that you're using right now, copy it down onto a new track, EQ out all the lows, speed it up, like warp it, speed it up just a little bit, and then copy that out a few times. Maybe chop it up and shuffle it in a few places and then crossfade so it sounds a bit more organic. And then layer that in at a super, excuse me, a super, super subtle level just above those. And I think that it would sound really three-dimensional. I guess I want more dimension from this. Like the whole thing is so lush and awesome. It feels just a tiny bit flat in a couple of spots. And maybe when the bass comes back here, around 120 or so, warm it up just with a little additional low end saturation. I bet it would sound like freaking butter. It would really, it would fill out the second half of the song in a different way. It would have a bit more warmth and gravity to it. I love that intimate snare. And the keys, that tremolo that it's got on there, or vibrato, it's so subtle. I think it would feel really good to have that peek through a couple of times. Just in a very subtle accent. I think it would sound really, really nice. But yeah, I think Paulie nails it. He says, this is awesome. It's so well put together. Yeah, Paulie, sure. There you go. Holler at ohmlab.tv if you're wanting to submit sounds for the community sample drive, or if you want to submit sounds that you want me to use in today's stream. If you want to send something through for private feedback, you can do that as well. Just let me know what you want. Paul, I love Chick Corea. Absolutely. Is there an app for that guy, but with samples? Ben, I'm missing it. Or are you saying that there is an app for what I was just talking about? I'm not sure. Some classical soul brass. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. If it was like filtered, obfuscated, like it's kind of heavy and like not much is being disclosed, and then there were just some gentle swells, but it never actually got too bright and brassy, maybe. It's so intimate. I really like the close, like it just feels like it's just right here. I'm digging that. Cosmetics. Yeah, that's a good way of saying that, man. It's just about highlights at this point and very subtle attenuations here and there. This is so good. This is so good. Do me a favor and bring this back when you feel like it's complete. Oh, Charles Bradley. Oh yeah, yeah. I have a sample for everything. Yeah, totally. I see what you're saying now. Yeah, there's an app for that. Actually, I've got a sample for that. That would fix the problem right there. Speaking of, Ben, when I'm like trapped and I'm unable to do stuff for a couple of days, whatever, the ideas just kind of bubble up in crazy and fantastic ways. And minutes into the weather, like really kind of building up on Friday, we had a couple very, very subtle little flickers in the lights. It's been flickering for days. And I was like, oh, I should probably go turn off my computer. And I come in here and it's already off. It's already shut down. These new Macs are like super sensitive on that. So I was without a way to like get my ideas out that how I normally do. And I came up with a concept for a brilliant new instrument. It's going to be freaking wicked. And I think that the new Kontakt and the Builder Kit is all flexible enough that I could maybe do it all inside of Kontakt which would be great, right? But now I just need to get busy with it because I think it would blow your freaking lids. It's like next gen type stuff. I really want to figure out if I can actually build this thing in an acceptable amount of time. I feel you, guy. Not in your face, just supportive. I feel that. It's got that emotional impact to it. What up, Andremia? How you doing, man? Cool. Yeah, I'd love to check it out when it's done. Well, I won't get into the details of how it all works, but it's one of those ideas where you have to get it into an image before you can get it into words, right? You got to like start with a simple schematic and kind of parse everything up from there. But it would be a re-envisioning of not only how we engage with our samples for certain types of sound design and music creation, but it would also challenge the way that we think of our UIs in general for our creative stuff. And I think it would even challenge the way that we think about synthesis in some ways, because I think that the whole thing would actually be sample driven. And like the whole thing is summed up in just like a tiny little image like this. And my mind was grinding on it for like a few days. And then all of a sudden, just something fell in the backyard, this crack, bang. And I was like, oh, that's it. I've had it. A sudden strike of inspiration. And I could like actually draw out the schematic. Oh, man. So now I need to get cracking on that. Yeah, it's a serious napkin idea. And I didn't have access to my machine because I didn't want to turn on my machine again, right? And just have it like crash with a power outage. When I came in here to turn it off and it was already off, I was like, oh no. And I pulled up my phone and I looked at the power outage map. There were already over 250,000 people around us without power. And over this weekend, like everyone around us is without power still. And we've had power. I feel so lucky because our power has cut out so randomly so many times in like nothing storms. It's actually been kind of aggravating, but this made me feel very, very lucky. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've definitely written a lot of my best music and stuff over the years with napkin ideas. But this new instrument idea, I think I might have to set some other stuff aside and chase this. Sounds like I need a generator. Right. All right, let's make some stuff. Let's make some noise. That sounds good. Maybe right there. Polly, sorry, dude. Yes, I did. All right, here we go. This one is from Polly. Sorry, Polly. I had a little idea. All right, let's do this. Oh, it's good to see your face, dude. All right, here we go. All right, so this is tight. I feel like you've had a bit of a level up since I've last heard something that you've been working on. You feel like you have? Because I feel like you have. Um, I'd wrangle in this bass just a touch on the bottom, just to tighten it up. You're going to end up with a bit more punch instead of thump, a little bit more um, definition instead of just roundness. And if you can do that on the bottom side, then I think that's a big win. And then I'd also scoop a little nugget out around like 100 hertz or so. Make a little bit more room for that kick. The kick sounds just a little bit flat when sitting next to that bass, and the bass sounds a little bit boomy. So I think if you do those two things, they'll sound a little tighter with each other. I would accent the snare with the overdrive. Same trick I'm always talking about, right? Just grab a something very simple and transparent. Accent up high. You don't even need to add any drive. You'll hear an audible difference, and it'll add some definition. You might even want to play with just a very subtle enveloper or transient master or transient shaper, and that's super easy. And I'm talking not too much, but just like anywhere, I don't know, 20% maybe, right? I wouldn't even mess with the sustain. I wouldn't cut it shorter. I definitely wouldn't lengthen it. And no audible gain difference, just a touch on that transient. Let's see here. Oh, 120. So when this guy chimes in here, that guy. So this idea is it's popping up more and more in stuff that people are sending through for feedback. And I think that there is a way that you can pull it off in a lot of these tracks. It's just figuring out how to do it to where it's liked on both sides, right? Like if it's repeated, it's liked just as much. It's not an overplayed thing. And that when the stop occurs, and the new sound is inserted, I think it's just got to be the right one. It's got to really fit what you're shooting for. And to me, with this sound, it sounds like you've got this idea of what you want to do, but you're not quite sure what sound it should be almost, right? Because the rest of it has a pretty well-established vibe to it. And this is sitting off to the side a bit. So what I would probably recommend EQing this a little bit differently so it isn't quite as bright for a sudden change like this, or bring in a second element, maybe even just start messing with that synth a little bit and seeing if you can get it to a bit more of an interesting point, because as it is right now, it's kind of chunky and big and it is abrupt, so it doesn't fit, right? The rest of it is so round. You could keep a sound like that and keep the abruptness and everything if you change the shape of it, right? If you made it a little bit more needly, right? Skinnier, and have some reverb on it so it kind of rings out. I think that would be a little bit better maybe for that specific type of sound. 125. The drums seem a bit too forced on the compression front. So I'm just talking maybe just a little bit too compressed, too much gain being added back to them in this one spot here. I think they're sitting above everything just a little bit too much. And my opinion on that might change a bit if that bass was wrangled in just a little bit, but I think the dBs would still be just a little bit too hot on that. So a couple down there. And then just on the general mix, maybe scoop a little bit around 500 and around 350. It seems a little thick and muddy and competitive in a couple of spots, right? I think you could get a little bit more punch from your kick, a little bit more weight from your bass, a little bit more clarity for the keys. I think all of those things could come from those two simple scoops. And then if you accent 4K and 8K, I think you're going to get some brilliance from your keys that I think you probably want. And then maybe some kind of a light arp in the background at a couple of points, or some bassline variation. It does kind of start to feel a bit repetitive in a couple of spots. It probably wouldn't feel that way once lyrics were over the top, but we don't have that. So we can tell a little bit more clearly when things start to get a little stale. So, putting in a baseline fill in a couple different spots, or chopping it and rearranging it for the second half, keeping all the same notes, just kind of reimagining it. Either one, I think would be good for that. You had to explain so long, and thanks for all the fish to someone last week, Paul. Oh my goodness. Paul, you've been studying a lot more music. Yeah, dude, I can tell there's a difference in, like, and it was right out the gate. I think it was the very first thing I wrote. Yeah, it was. I mean, I could hear it in the first handful of notes in this whole thing. I could hear a difference. Seriously, Eric, it is kind of worrying. I'm surprised the guy doesn't know it. Dude, that's kind of what I've thought, like, every time I've left a job or something. It's like, see ya. Thanks for all the fish. Ooh, muted trumpet. And Guy was saying some kind of emotional kind of soul brass in the last track too. I would think that here there's a slightly easier entry point for that. It would definitely fit the vibe of this. Maybe that's what could be that kind of subtle light arp in the background kind of tone that I was hearing. Man, there's some strong opinions in the chat today. Pencils. Mechanical pencils too? Oh, man. Oh, man. You guys are great. Oh my gosh. Oh, you guys are killing me over here. If I can't record it with lasers out my eyes burning into metal, it's probably not worth writing down, unless grocery list. Oh my God, you guys are freaking killing me today. And rainbow colored inks. Oh yeah. Pink trumpet. Oh man. Paulie, this is good, man. Bring it back. And swing by with more just in general. It's good to hear the big steps, the giant steps, man. You got this. Oh, Guy. He's got it figured out over there, guys. All right, so I was going to make some some atmospherics. All right, let's send this thing through a band. A band on the run, to be more accurate. See what I did there? Yeah, this will sound nice with some nice nature in there. All right, so we got the bass peeking out, got the top nice and tight. Let's get a little noise in here really quick. I'll just toss in one of mine. All right, let's put a little shape to this thing. All right, now let's get this low end sorted. And then let's just send that through sub or RB. All right, so now let's start moving this thing around, huh? Let's go bipolar on this one. Save a little time. It's alive. right, let's send this thing into action here. Okay, let's get back to this. Let's go LFO on the Y and LFO on the Y. LFO on the Y's here. All right, let's just bring these down only. Let's get into LFO 5. Let's go back and look at that thing. All right, let's go a little bit lower on those. Foss, you still in the room, man? You were wondering if we were going to get into some LFO modding, LFO access points. Yo, what up, Sev? Hey, you guys. Will just walked in, and he's just released Stella, so I think we should probably hit pause on what we're doing and listen to it. Let's do this. Yeah, send me the whole thing. There's a link in the chat, you guys, to the beatport for Stella from Zev. Show him some love if you like what you hear in a minute. All right, so now that we've got those, stick an EQ on this bad boy. so 6. And 7. Hell yeah, dude. Someone else was just saying this morning that they've got this massive goal to get onto Monster Cat. I'm like, you just got to keep grinding. Chase the goals. All right, this is 2-part love here. First one. Dude, all the love, all the feels, homie. So flippin' proud of you right now. This is a big day. All right, so here's the second. This is the second half of this EP that dropped today from Zev. This one's called Backlight. My man. Big ups, dude. Seriously. Seriously. Rain is here. What's up, Space Bats? How are you? Sev, dude. Flipping awesome, man. So good. Everybody go hit that link. Zev, drop your link in the chat again, the Beatport. And you guys show some love. Tell your friends. It's not always about hitting the buy button. Spread that link around. Give our man some joy today. Some clicks. Oh, yes, Ben, of course. Of course, of course, of course. Awesome. All right.
I call it saving money by customizing car insurance with Liberty Mutual.
These commercials.
Wonder.
This is our home.
Howdy, neighbors.
What?
Hey, Charlie! Hey, Charlie, wake up! Yeah, Charlie, you silly sleepyhead, wake up!
Oh God, you guys. This had better be pretty freaking important. Is the meadow on fire?
No, Charlie, we found a map to Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain. Come with us, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, it'll be an adventure. We're going on an adventure, Charlie.
Yeah, Candy Mountain, right. I'm just gonna, go back to sleep now.
No, Charlie, you have to come with us to Candy Mountain. Yeah, Charlie, Candy Mountain. It's a land of sweets and joy and joyness.
Please stop bouncing on me.
Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Candy Mountain.
All right, fine. I'll go with you to Candy Mountain.
La 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 la.
Oh my God. Serious flashbacks.
Enough with the singing already.
Our first stop is over there, Charlie.
Oh God, what is that?
It's a Leopleurodon, Charlie. A magical Leopleurodon. It's gonna guide our way to Candy Mountain.
All right, guys, you do know that there's no actual Candy Mountain, right?
Shun the non-believer. Shun. Shun.
Yeah.
It has spoken. It has told us the way.
It didn't say anything.
It's just over this bridge, Charlie. This magical bridge of hope and wonder.
Is anyone else getting, covered in splinters? Seriously, guys, we shouldn't be on this thing.
Charlie. 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 Charlie.
I'm right here. What do you want?
We're on a bridge, Charlie. We're here.
Well, what do you know? There actually is a Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain, Candy Mountain, you fill me with sweet, sugary goodness. Go inside the Candy Mountain cave, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, go inside the cave. Magical wonders are to behold when you enter.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna stay out here.
But you have to enter the Candy Mountain Candy Cave, Charlie.
Oh, when you're down and looking for some cheering up, then just head right on up to the Candy Mountain Cave. When you get inside, you'll find yourself a cheery land, such a happy and joy-filled and perky merry land. They've got lollipops and gummy drops and candy things, oh, so many things that will brighten up your day. It's impossible to wear a frown in Candy Town. It's the mecca of love, the Candy Cave. They've got jelly beans and coconuts with little hats, candy rats, chocolate bats. It's a wonderland of sweets. Ride the candy train to town and hear the candy band, candy bells. It's a treat as they march across the land. Cherry ribbons stream across the sky and to the ground. Turn around, it astounds. It's a dancing candy tree. In the Candy Cave, imagination runs so free. So now, Charlie, please will you go into the cave?
All right, fine. I'll go into the freaking Candy Cave. This had better be good.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Goodbye, Charlie. Yeah, goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye? What? Hey, what's going on here?
See you later, Charlie.
Hello? Who is that? Oh, what happened? Oh, they took my freaking kidney.
it's been a minute. Oh my God. So when that came out, I was still working in the Apple world, and Funny or Die was kind of reigning supreme. And I remember that for about a month or so, someone in the office would post like that day's Funny or Die thing that popped up somewhere. And then inevitably, there would be this torrent of these tiny little GIFs from the various employees responding to it, and they were all Charlie. Oh my God. Well, there were a couple of lols cats in there too, but it was almost always Charlie. Oh, holy hell. Oh man. That is Benny, thank you. Everybody throw a piece of candy and an Advil at Benny. Oh man. Purple Prose is already into it. She's been eating peppermint candy since 10 a.m. She's way ahead of the curve on this one. Nate, you showed up right on time, huh? Holy hell. Early web animations? What are you talking about, man? That thing was a crispy 144p. You remember exactly where you were, Nate? Where were you? I remember as well. Oh man. Thank you for the follow, JRF6. JRF6XH. JRF6. Thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. I'm sorry for utterly slaughtering your name. Charlie. Now, if someone could make a mashup of Charlie and Hot Pockets. Oh man. Homestar Runner and Strong Bad. Oh man. Oh, and what was the Darth Vader skits? Shoot, what was it? What the hell was it? You guys have to know what I'm talking about. It was in that same little lovely pocket of time. It was around 2008 or so when all of this stuff started popping up. Oh, yeah, it is. Llamas with hats for sure. Come on. Oh. It's a Pleurodon, Charlie. Oh, shoot. Oh, man. Salad fingers. Yeah, Nate, man. Chad Vader. Thank you. Chad Vader, Day Shift Manager. Thank you. That's the one. If you guys are unfamiliar with Chad Vader, go check it out. And then go check out all the little side skits that they were doing on that channel at the same time, because they were freaking hilarious. Oh, man. For a short while, it actually looked like that kind of stuff could end up dominating. And then it didn't. People got all serious and grown up again. Charlie plus Hot Pockets. This would be the album cover. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, holy hell. Look at this. Glass and plastic flavor. Oh, man. Oh, wow. How many people did that affect? My goodness. Yeah, jib jab. Trogdor. Oh, man. Salad fingers, absolute, man. Oh, absolute. Oh, Ben, you're sending another. Shoot, I should get some stuff done, but I'm gonna click on this link.
Grammarly can help you write
Oh,
quickly
you're
and
playing Chad Vader.
confidently, so you never have to slow down at work.
All right, we'll give Chad
Instant
a couple of minutes
corrections
here.
make your...
But you guys really do need to go check this out. Yeah, we're rolling at 240 here.
What is the meaning of this?
The meaning of what?
I ordered this task to be completed an hour ago.
Yeah, you did.
You have failed me for the last time.
That's what you said the last time.
I have been too forgiving in the past. Do not fail me again.
Because that'll be the last time.
Yes. No. I don't know. Continue stalking.
Everyone who's ever worked a day job and had a manager and enjoyed the Star Trek or Star Wars films, just please check out Chad Vader, Day Shift Manager. 2006. Man, they were so good. They were so good. And they went on for a while, too. The Blame Society stuff. So good. So good. All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. I was going to make some interesting atmospheres. All right, and what happens if we bring that step down here to 16ths? Yeah, I'm going to bring these down even further. These little Y-axis mods here. Yeah, that's a bit more dope there. Yeah, that's cool. That'll sound nice layered. It's nice on that quarter note, too. All right, so now that we've got all of that, Now let's take this one out just a touch here. There we go. Faucet really did. It really opens up so much more like deep modulation stuff, and it feels so much more organic when you get these little secondary mod layers in place. It's kind of like playing with the mod maps inside of Alchemy, like pre and post those updates. Guy has sent something in. All right, let's check and see what Guy sent in. Oh, and I've got this one from Paul too. And this one actually came in on Friday, and I missed it. There were several different emails that came in on Friday, and they didn't arrive until much later. This one just came in from Guy.
Charlie.
Okay, hold on just a second here.
Charlie.
I compose myself. Okay, so I need like the best Charlie image possible. And we're going to set this up with a hotkey. Oh, man. Without the audio, we might actually need to add the ability for you guys to trigger a GIF of Charlie as well. If someone wants to send through something on that front. This was a late night doodle. Or noodle from our friend Paul. Out of VCV, he got a new module. These are great sounds. He says, this is my latest VCV noodling. Stumbled on a new module that seems to make resonant FM perk sounds. Thank you, Nate. Much love, dude. Have a good one. This is fun, Paul. Here come the modules. The march of the modules. Dude, Paul, this is great, dude. Seriously, that's fun. That's fun. Yeah, that's some good stuff. I need more coffee. I'm gonna spin a tune really quick, and I'm gonna go get some coffee. Let's see what this thing spits out. And I'll be right back. Be right back. Took my kidney. It's the worst. Waking up with one less kidney. It's just the worst. When it's not too cheesy, this funk channel is a gem. It's a lit for a time. We have Florodon. Oh, man. Kramer took acid. Oh, good, Purple Pros. Excellent. All right. It's time to get some stuff done. That's what I keep saying anyway. Seriously, though, let's make something happen. Oh. Alright. So it sounds pretty good at a bar. 30-second notes. 2 bars is a bit too much. Alright, so to test this, let's just take and put let's put some nature into a kontakt instance. And actually we'll do a couple things in there. First, I'll just put a little rain in there. Rain. Nothing says dystopian atmosphere like rain, right? Why is that? Did Blade Runner do that to us? Is that why we have that feeling? Oh, you know what I need to do? Plug in another drive. Okay, so let's do rain on a tin house, maybe? Dirty Merv, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Man, I used to use battery a lot more. Or no, it's tough for me to stick with just one with that type of thing. Mostly just because I kind of pick things based off of like capabilities of modulation more than anything for that type of thing, honestly. Oh man. Dirty Murph, what you got there? Maybe not that one. Maybe a bit more rainforesty. I might do. That one's nicer. Let's toss this one in there. It's probably freaking huge. See what we can do with this. Kontakt is like, oh, this is really big. We'll do a little loop in here somewhere, and we'll start. Oh, let's get our 0 crossing points in here. All right, that should be good. And let's just give this thing a curve. Okay. Let's see what that sounds like with this. Okay, why isn't that lasting? Let's change this one into a time machine. Get a little granular with it. Oh, that sounds a little more alien. Okay, let's just take out some of the low end on this. All right, we're getting there. And toss our filter on the out again on this. Let's get our balance right. All right, so what do we got here? Oh, Guy, did you send one? Sorry about that. Oh, you guys were just talking about the, okay. Dark and dirty. Let's see it. Dirty Murph. You're up. All right, so I don't have a ton of feedback on this one just because it's a really specific type of sound. But in the future, I would say bring by your whips, your work in progress tracks, so we can give you feedback that can be implemented. The noisy sub freaks, the noisy sub itself is fine, but I think you'd probably get a better overall mix output if you leave the bottom, say 20 hertz or so of your kick and sub untouched, right? So target just above the lowest frequencies for your saturation. And then that way you're not messing with the overall phase of the track. Just something to kind of keep in mind. Adding the saturation generates more than enough harmonics above those super low sub points. And you're still going to have plenty of hertz in the sub range, roughed up by the saturation, that you won't lose any of the buzz. You'll just gain a little bit more power in it. It'll probably feel like you have a little bit more bass coming through. It'll leave a much more stable stereo image for your track. More of the bass will stay in the center lane for you. I would say changing up the bass line just a little bit would probably help. Even if it's just a matter of one note every other bar or something like that, so it doesn't sound quite as repetitive over time. Or maybe just build out one or two changes that kind of stack on top of each other over a period of, like, say 16 bars or something like that. Not anything over the top. I wouldn't change too much in the arrangement other than that, honestly. Again, it's a very specific genre. So otherwise, I'm liking the higher frequency synth embellishments on this. It definitely helps to brighten it up a bit. You might want to consider like moving those around on the edges just a little bit, right? Another thing that could keep the interest of the listener without changing the actual arrangement, right? If you're doing something with the stuff that gets moved out to the sides, right? Whether it be some kind of delay tail that's then augmented in some way, right? A pitch bend, or maybe it's broken up with a bit crush or something like that, right? But if it's in movement and it's in the sides, or if it's in motion and it's in the sides, then people are going to stay a lot more interested, and they won't even notice if a bass line is repetitive or whatever. And in most situations, that's going to be better, right? So for what it's worth, those are the little bits of feedback I have. Nothing too critical. What's a good way to get a loop you've made to tempo sync? In Kontakt, that is. Well, if you're looking for just a straight loop, there are view options in here. Oh, where it is? Oh, it's right here. Grid. Boom. There you go. So you can set your grid view on, and then you can set up something that loops specifically within a certain beat. Although, you know, if it's something, I mean, depending upon what it is, right? Some things you want to be right on, and some things you want to be right, you know, in a more unsynced kind of feel to it. One happy medium place in there is using the idea of a dotted something, right? So if normally you're looping like 1 bar or 2 bars, think about maybe 1.5 bars or 3 bars, right? Just to kind of change up that loop cycle and make people wonder once or twice if this is actually a loop or not. Another thing you can do is set up a couple different loops, toggle between them. What else? You can use what's called zone envelopes. If you've never actually clicked on this little tab right here, this actually allows you to, with a very, very simple drawing tool, you can draw in an envelope modulation on something specific like volume or pitch or pan or something like that. And that can actually lead to some really cool things, especially if it's a multi-instrument, right? Like if you have more than one thing set up inside of your rack in Kontakt, which is something that a lot of people kind of forget about, right? If you put the same sample into your rack a few times and you're looping one of them, you could loop another one a different way, right? If you're looping one at a 2-bar loop and you're looping another one at like a 1/4 bar loop or something like that, now you're getting into some kind of like cool rhythmic pulsy kind of thing. And you've got the whole, you know, meta function kind of feel to it all. You can get into some cool stuff there. You can also get into really short form looping, right? Where, I mean, you could take any instrument or any sample and make it into an instrument. That's easy. We can kind of play with that. There's just like a multitude of things that you could be doing, really, honestly. If you're talking about looping inside of Kontakt, it really comes down to what exactly it is you're making, right? But anytime you can like get kind of jangly with it, you know, where it's like not quite right on a grid. I feel like that's where the magic of loop and stuff inside of Kontakt is, personally. But yeah, again, the quickest way to get it on a grid is just to come in here and turn it on the grid. Whoa. And I guess that just crashed my logic. Every time you play in your sandbox, you get freaking pink eye. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned, Dirty Merv, if you are still in here, the compression on the kick is unnecessary. Like once you've got that much drive on something, there's so much additional harmonic information that it just kind of becomes ridiculous. Did it save my patch too? Yeah, it kind of becomes a ridiculous thing to actually compress that and make it louder then. Oh yeah, it totally did. It borked my my Kontakt, but it saved my serum. That was a really long sample. Maybe it was just too long. Maybe I'll try a shorter one in there. Let's just grab some rain from here. Let's do this one. Rain on car. And let's set this into granular and jump into the wave. We'll get loop on. We will snap to a zero crossing. We'll set a little loop region in here. All right, let's get those lows out again. Freaking crashes. What? It's already the 15th. Hockeys. All right, so subvids. I mean, I have a nice shaker loop over 4 bars. It would be nice to play it at, say, 100 BPM, then 90. Yeah, yeah. Zev, yeah, dude. Have fun out there. And yeah, I'm totally down to jam today. So I'll see you in a couple. Oh, EQ your reverb. Gebro, how are you? Doing well over here. Guy. Guy's just trolling purple over here. All right, where were we? You made Heidi swear. All right, so subvids, did that make sense? How you can go into Kontakt and inside your sample loop wave editor area, you can turn on the grid. And then you can set a specific BPM. Like here, you can see that mine is actually rocking at 90 BPM. And we can set that to sync to the project instead. But yes, you can rock something at a different BPM. Guy. The random pictures that we see from Guy for like the next few months is just progressively getting worse. His eyes are just basically just melting or something. Gabro, feel free to please go ahead and toss it in the chat, or if you're tossing it in the Discord, just let me know. Put acid in your eyes, but in a good way. Yeah, that's what you mean, a sync to project. So there's this little auto right. Sync. Sync first. Sync first. That is where the hell is it? Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, wait, what am I thinking? If you're running inside of a time machine mode, you're already syncing. It's not stretching. So if what you're really asking is how to change the playback speed of something without changing the pitch, it's about the mode, the playback mode that you're operating in. Is that what you're trying to hit here? Because if it is, then what you really need to do is at the very outset, switch this thing into a time machine, because by default, yeah. Okay, yeah. Sometimes it's hard to articulate these things, but what you're really wanting to do, and for other people that are looking to do this is like one of the most common questions in sampling really is, how do I get things to play back at different speeds without altering the pitch of the playback? And there will be some artifacting depending upon what kind of mode you run in. So if you want to avoid that, for instance, don't go into time machine, just the default, because that's going to give a granular set of controls. If you go into time machine 2, that takes away granular, but then it gives you more control over transient size. Okay. Each one is going to give you playback speed control. So if you're wanting to alter it just slightly in the playback speed, for like a little bit of wonk or something like that, or speed it up just for a little bit of that kind of hyper feel, you can manually. And then Time Machine Pro gives you access to reverse, a high quality mode, and then also legato. So those are your three main options. I think Beat Machine also will allow you to play back at the same speed. Yeah, those are all playing back the same. Their pitch is different. So you've got different options here. But the rate at which those are falling is the same. So we're playing at the same speed and getting different pitch. And that is then syncing to your project by default. So if you were to take this down to say like 60 or something. Oh, wait, hold on a second. This is playing back at the original still, which is 90. Wave editor. Oh, right, because again, I'm in Time Machine. Switch this to Time Machine Pro here. Yeah, that's maintaining its BPM precisely. If you are, if you're actually doing the looping inside of here, then yeah. And there's, if you go back into the sample loops, you can actually make kind of specific edits to these too. Right, so if you're getting just a small amount of jump in there from end to start, but your length is right, you've got crossfade controls in here. Purple Pros. Someone someone is suffering from pink eye out there, and you're helping them. That's funny. You sure this isn't one of those? I have a friend. That sounds pretty seamless, really. Okay, that does sound pretty cool. So let's take this down just a touch more. We'll stack these and start knocking out some samples here. Okay, so on this, let's get a reverb. Let's try it wrong. I so rarely fire up reverbs from Native Instruments for some reason. Anthony, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Okay, so on something like this, if we're going to get into that kind of dystopian feel, we should probably start adding a little bit of oomph. $5 gigs. Ouch. Ouch. My aura is made from real Angora Dora. Swamp! Happy birthday, homie. Welcome. How you doing, man? Swamp, you making any cool noises today on your birthday, man? .480p streaming, what's that? Who's 480p streaming? I better not be. Driving out to the desert to meditate, that's like always a good idea. Cheers, subvids. Alright, these are starting to feel a little bit better. Alright, let's just accent this a bit. And this will probably be good. Oh man, oh that sucks. Internet at 480. Alright, now let's see if we can get a super loose bandpass around this in just the right spot. Oh, right, it won't let me modulate that on this channel. Do I have to edit? Oh, hold on a second. There we go. So let's just find our range here. There we go. That's a little better. It's about that movement, right? Yeah, that's more dystopian. Oh man, the question is should it even ever go up that high? Or maybe this should just be a unipolar. Let's just bring this down just a touch. Go slightly less in the range. take this down just a touch over here and start bouncing these samples out. Oh, and Gebro's got a link. Let's hit that really quick. People, if you are not subscribed and you want more free sounds, subscribe and get yourself a truckload of free sounds. If you've not grabbed your free sounds yet and you are subscribed, go do that. I'm going to be swapping those out. All right, so this is great. This is great. That noise buildup right at the start is fantastic. It's like just the perfect rate. Vocal comes in just a touch hot, and usually, I'm sure you're probably already getting accustomed to me getting on this, but the Vox comes in just a touch hot, and then the sub boom follows, and I'm thinking, oh, we should probably wrangle in the EQ on that just slightly, maybe with a wide band pass or something. And then at 40 seconds, it's just kind of, it's all sealed. It's been, if it's not necessarily over compressed, it's over maximized. Like the loudness has been inflated to a degree that you're now going to get penalized by different platforms. And by that, I mean that there is kind of a standard that each one of the streaming platforms has, right? And because we live in a streaming world, everything kind of needs to meet these standards regardless of what you're creating for. I kind of feel that pretty strongly at this point. So if you're not using a loudness meter of some kind, a penalty meter in conjunction with your own metering, I'm thinking that this is something good to add to your workflow. These guys actually, I'll pull up a website. Oops. So these guys actually have a plugin that you can download too that just sits in your DAW and you can just check everything right there. But if I were to download this track and drop it in here, it would probably tell me that if we were to upload this right now to SoundCloud and iTunes, etc., Spotify, that it would reduce the dBs by like probably 7 dBs at least. So what I would do, and this is, I mean, this is a really good thing to do for anyone really, but especially someone like Gebro who is producing for screen predominantly, is figure out a standard for all of your stuff. And do you work in Logic? Am I remembering that correctly? And I'm seeing your note now about, can I teach the fourth point? Yes, I will. First, this loudness thing, because this plays into it. So I'm just going to open up the multimeter here, and I'll zoom in so you guys can see this. So you've got LUFS on this side, you've got dBs on this side. What you want to do is make sure that you're always monitoring your stuff in true peak and RMS. And just consider that a really good standard, LUFS-wise, for what you're outputting as your final is around -16 LUFS. Okay? And then your decibels should cap out just under 0, right? I personally, I like maybe a -0.3 or something like that, so it never actually peaks. But getting to this point on your final export is a bit of work, right? So it really requires you mixing around your hero in your track. So, and by that I mean getting your levels right on all of your samples when you first bring them in, and all of your instruments. Bring everything in your mixer down to 0 except for your hero, and you set your hero, which is like your main priority status instrument or sound. You set that at around -6 decibels dB, and you want that to be at about that point even after all of your processes. So from this point forward, you're going to want to start doing all of your gain staging work within your plugins probably. Okay, once you get this thing to initially sit at -6, and then bring everything else in your mix up around it. One thing that can really help with this is getting through your arrangement before you actually start to do the bulk of your mixing, right? And I'm not talking about EQing out a little bit of low end so you can actually hear what you're adding next or whatever, right? That's just like low level stuff. But try not to do any of your big mixing stuff until you actually have your arrangement finalized. So then that way you don't have to constantly go back and remember where you would tweak things in different plugins and whatnot, and you can just move kind of systematically from A to Z, left to right, top to bottom. And by the end of your mix, what you're going to have is a much easier time getting to your standards. And actually getting your decibels up to around 0 and not busting past, say, like -12 or something in your LUFS. So how do I know when stuff is overcompressed? And what the heck is overcompression really? Because I think that's a pretty fair question. Because compression, its original intention is to attenuate, right? Just tap down the peaks that are a bit too much, and that's it, right? So you're decreasing the dynamic range. And when you add gain back, you're getting your loudness back. You're also increasing everything from the noise floor up, right? So you're adding more texture or more nuanced elements in your audio, right? If that's unnecessary, then all you're doing is getting to your pain points quicker. And you're exhausting the eardrums, really, is what it is. So when you feel like there's a lot of pressure on your ears, it's overcompressed. It's just artificially inflated in its perceived loudness, right? We can always turn something up unless we've turned it up too much, or unless it's already been turned up too much before it gets to us. Okay, so you got to think about this stuff on your output as, like, your output levels as what you would prefer receiving as a listener not what you think you need to do to get it to the loudness to compete with other people. Because when people are sharing their stuff with you, they're doing it in a number of different ways, right? Some people are putting it up in SoundCloud links and some people aren't, right? Some people are posting MP3 files or whatever, like in a forum or whatever, right? And so there's all sorts of different layers of compression happening here. And these streaming platforms are actually compressing stuff or turning stuff down, right? And the last thing you want is to really artificially inflate your stuff to the point where it needs to be turned down, because then people actually believe that it can be turned up, and it really can't, because you've already reached that point, right? So it's this kind of feeling of like this tomfoolery, and when you do turn it up, it's just kind of exhausting on the ears, instead of really exciting when it meets the peaks, and really like intriguing and alluring and drawing you in when it's really low. Right? Like that's the beauty of the dynamic range, is when things do get quiet, it shouldn't be this kind of like mental penalty that we give ourselves. When things get quiet, you should be thinking, this is where they lean in. Now I'm going to give them something in exchange for that, right? When you get someone to go like this and kind of like turn their head a little bit, they're trying to get that. They're trying not to lose the moment, right? They're in it. You've made them go down the rabbit hole with you. Now, boom, bring something back in, and it's got this massive dramatic effect, whereby if you start compressing and making things louder at the very beginning, it's just an impressive maneuver. It doesn't actually have this huge dramatic effect, right? And it's really relying upon the visuals to express just how much dramatic impact it should have, versus you bringing visuals to life in such a dramatic way that it is now so much more powerful. Like the scenery, all of it, all the feels, the tingles that you get from it is so much more powerful now, because there was a bit of this like roller coaster effect, right? And when you do that, you also start to realize that a lot of things are just too loud, right? And you start to kind of appreciate the fact that there are these boundaries to really dynamic mixes. And those boundaries are what make it feel like it's really alive and not just a piece that's been written for moving pictures on a screen. You know what I mean? I feel like there's a pretty dramatic difference between those. So how do you not overcompress? The very first thing you should do before you add a compressor to something is ask yourself, why am I adding this compressor? Because if your peaks aren't too high, or if there isn't some subtle noise that you're trying to bring up, then you probably shouldn't even have compression on that thing anyway, right? And depending upon what kind of tools you're using to make your music, that stuff may have been compressed already, right? Maybe even a few times. So just kind of keeping in mind that most of the time you don't actually need to compress anything. I feel like whenever I play one of my mixes in here, I always get the same kind of comments like, oh, wow, this is so dramatic, and the textures are just so epic. And, oh, how did you get this like to fit there? And the answer is almost always, I didn't inflate it. So it just naturally fits, right? Like there's a lot of EQ work that goes into what I do. And I think that brings out the majority of the power of things. So lesson one in not overcompressing things or not needing to turn things up initially is to attenuate wherever possible in all of your other sounds. Wherever you want to accent something in your mix, look everywhere else in your mix to see what you can take away in those things to help bolster and kind of highlight and showcase this thing, right? The other supporting members in the cast should be building a stage and a spotlight, so to speak, for that one element, right? And then that way, when you do go back and add compression later, it sounds like it's gelling something, and you're not reaching to compression instead to make it louder, because it's really not the purpose of compression. Compression isn't supposed to be making things louder. And that's why our ears end up hurting, and like we feel like we're reaching these limits with what we can convey with our audio, is because we're just kind of taking that space away. So for what it's worth, using subtractive cuts, getting all of your volume balancing done ahead of time, and gain staging through your plugins as you work, really not adding any compression to anything unless it's actually necessary, right? The other time where it's actually necessary nowadays in modern productions is using a compressor to facilitate some volume ducking through a sidechain signal trigger. So I hope that all of that made sense. And when all of your projects are sitting at about the same LUFS level, now this is when you start to get into a very different relationship with the people that you're making sounds for, right? Because they understand that you've hit, like you've cracked your own code. And what they get from you is going to be so consistent that they never really even need to question what the project is that you're working on. They already know that they want it. Right. And the majority of time, it comes down to how well your elements end up playing in the larger mix of their project. Right. And just understanding that everything that you make in the screen world has got to come in second to whatever's on the screen. Right. Strings, more volume dynamics. I'm thinking that there's room for like these kind of pushes up to the top of those little patterns, of those little sequences that you're giving, right? And I'm loving the glitchy edge of that synth. It's so subtle and it's got such a modern sound and it feels so good with the like electric nature of the noise that you've got in there, and it all just feels really, really good. And the Brahms have great texture, and I think that the Brahms would have much more impact if you were to reclaim some of that original dynamic range in this, because they would be at the very forefront instead of just another loud thing in the mix. You know what I mean? Cool. Okay. What are you guys talking about in here? Swamp, I hear you on the whole changing DAW thing, for sure. Yeah, people are always liking your stuff, Gebro, and I do as well. I hope you keep coming back for more and keep sharing more with us. Saf is asking why this hasn't been in a game yet, right? Yeah, people like it. So yeah, I hope I explained the fourth point well enough here. Trash is only $9 right now at Plugin Boutique. And they've also got the oblique delay and pumper 3 deal still going. It's a pretty ridiculous thing. Oh, and I wonder if the EXO is still up there. Let me let's see if I can circle back and toss that one in there. Where is that? Oops. Here we go. Yeah, it is. Okay, so someone was asking, a few of you grabbed this in the last stream, and someone was asking in an email. So I'll just pop this in as well. The second link on Plugin Boutique is for EXO from XLN Audio, which we've looked at a couple of times, and people are always just gaga for it. But right now, it's on a serious discount, and plus you get those couple of free plugins when you make a purchase there. So the whole thing is just a ridiculous deal for anyone that's looking for their new secret weapon. If you weren't on FL, Wait, why do you say that if you weren't on FL? Am I missing something here? All right, so guy's saying 1.5 to 1 fast attack, slow release, 1 dB gain reduction for this type of music. That's a really tough question to answer because in regards to what? If you're talking about like a glue compressor on the very end, yeah, I think that that's kind of fair. But it's hard to kind of make a blanket statement about the individual sounds in the mix. Those should always be one off. And dynamics are super important here. Neg 1.5, neg 12 LUFS is SoundCloud's limiting. Yeah, it's around there. Swamp saying even on top of using something like Rune, you can save, or you can use R128 data. Yeah. How do you make the pushes? Oh, Saffron, if you're talking about the little pushes with the strings, it's just a volume automation thing, man. Quite literally, just, and you would want to give it like a little curve. Here, I'll just put something in here really quick. So let's just say that your, like the peak of your ARP with your strings is at the top of the bar. So then, oh, and these obviously wouldn't be down all the way. Sleeping over here. All right, so anyway, you're going to make these a bit more concave, so they're a bit more dramatic. And I would advise not copying over. Do all of these manually. It'll take you a minute. It'll take away a minute of your life, and it's so much more worth it, right? So you're getting a real more like lifelike kind of crescendo energy exchange from each one of the performers, if you will, right? And even if you're only doing that to like one dramatic element or one consistently playing element in the mix for music like this, the large majority of the attention is on the screen, not the music. So those little things give the organic life force to a piece of music like this, right? And then when you listen back to it, like in a soundtrack, and the images aren't there in front of you, at least it still feels like it had a fair bit of dramatic appeal to it, and it wasn't all coming from the impressive visuals that was playing alongside of it. Oh, for mastering. Yeah, so on something like this, I would probably say I would use a 1.5 to 1 ratio on the lows and the low mids, and maybe like a 1.4 on the mid highs and the highs, or something like that, right? So the compression is just slightly more aggressive. And then I would also use quicker knees on the really low and the mid lows, and then I would use more relaxed knees probably on the mid highs and the highs in a mix like this. The reason is because you're allowing the middle of your frequency spectrum and up to breathe just a little bit more naturally, and you're constraining the low end just a little bit more than it would be naturally. And the juxtaposition of those two things is bright and wide and free and centered and grounded, and it's got gravity and roots, right? So it's a bit more narrow and it's a bit more controlled down low, and it's a bit more free to kind of blossom and spread out up top. And I think that that's what we generally think of when we think of like these very sweeping and dramatic pieces of music, especially stuff for film, right? That's how I approach it anyway. Gebro, yeah, but it's going to be super quick. it's going to be super quick because I got to bounce and I'm going to go jam with Zev for a couple of hours and make some music. Good luck with that, Paul. Oh man, people and their authorization complexities in our industry, right? Man. Ooh, resilience. Resiliency. All right, so this is freaking great again. Just want to spend a week making tracks with you, man. Maybe just a touch more sub-bass warmth at the intro. It doesn't need to be necessarily louder, but I think a little bit more warm and round. And if it was to just hang in the air for a second longer, so just kind of really, or extend that decay just slightly. Same at 25 seconds. At 48, it's really nailed. I feel like that is just, definitely don't change that. More push on those strings, just like the last one I was saying. Just kind of push into those accents, get those kind of mini crescendos going within a smaller sequence. And then those strings, kind of humanize them a bit more. Maybe one layer has slightly longer attack. Maybe one of them has a slightly larger dynamic range. Maybe one of them has a stronger vibrato or tremolo on it. And then offset the timing of them just slightly, so they're not all just spot on. The main progression, it's ace in this, and it sounds freaking fantastic. The only downside to it is that everyone is using it right now. And I mean everyone. So this could play one of two ways. Either this gets you a bunch of sales, if you're in like a royalty-free marketplace or something like that, or it gets picked up for a while into decent licensing opportunities, and then it just kind of falls off because that meme ends, that trend ends. So for what it's worth, and I know that that's tough because you're building up to something that's just freaking phenomenal at the 150 mark. But if there's some way for you to change up that progression just a bit, or change up the way that you're presenting it, right? Maybe there's a tiny little gated stutter in there or something like that. You know, something that makes it stand out from the other folks, the other tracks, the other trailers that are all using that same progression. And I'm totally like at 150, I'm just imagining like the rocket shooting up into space and like people down on Earth, like watching it disappear. And, you know, like the guys inside the shuttle are just like, oh, we're making history. I don't know. It seems just quite perfect. 245, perfect. Like you just leave it hanging and it's just freaking awesome. 255, I would absolutely call more attention to that pitch bend. Your first couple of pitch bends were great. The one here at 48 or whatever. Where is it? There it is, 42. That one could actually come up just a little bit. But I feel like the range, everything is just great. This last one, you could even play around with moving away from a traditional pitch bend and moving into, like if this was to somehow turn into more of a wash, like it instead of it just kind of dissipating, right? Instead it gets washed out with like a large hall or something, and then actually modulating the size of the reverb to get the pitch bend, and it would smear it and it would kind of diffuse everything out. I don't know, one thing you could play with. I would fight like hell to find a way to create more separation from you in the competition on this one, because it's super tasty. Guy. Saf, dude, man, sending good vibes your way, dude. I hope things work out for, it's your aunt, right? Man, I really do hope she's okay and that the kids are okay. I hope you guys can help them out. Guy, upping your imposter syndrome. Oh, man. See you later, Paul. Take care, man. Yeah, Gebro, it's just choice stuff. All of your stuff is. And thank you for coming back again and again and sharing with us. I really do appreciate it. I've got a boogie. I need to go do a couple things before I start really playing for the day. So absolutely, dude. Absolutely. I'm glad that the feedback has been helpful enough for you to come back again and again. So, all right, kitty cats, I'm going to sign off. I hope you all have a fantastic finish to your Monday, and I'll see you again on Hump Day. we will do this again, because that's what we do. Until then, stay funky. Ciao.